Hello everyone. This lesson's on the beginning stages of a section in geometry that's very important in mathematics, and it's on transversals and eventually parallel lines. First, we want to define what a transversal is. A transversal is basically a line, right, that crosses at least two other lines. So over here when I look, this line is a transversal because it intersects line M at that point, and it intersects line N at that point, right? So what happens is, right, when this transversal intersects these two lines, we get these angle, pairs that we like to talk about, right? We're going to go through and describe what these angle pairs are, define them, and, hopefully we can go and, identify them in other diagrams. So the first type of angles created are called corresponding angles. These are non-adjacent angles, meaning they do not basically touch. Okay? Now, they are on the same side of the transversal, and one is interior, one is exterior. So when I look, non-adjacent, one interior, one exterior, same side of the transversal. An example of this would be angle 1 and angle 5, right? That would be a pair of corresponding angles. Notice they're not right next door to each other, same side of the transversal, right? One's interior. When we talk about interior is in between the lines here. Oops. Exterior is outside those lines. That's exterior. This is exterior. So now another pair of corresponding angles would be, say, 3 and 7. That would be another pair of corresponding angles. Then we could say 2 and 6 are a pair of corresponding angles. And eventually we could say angle 4 and angle 8 are corresponding angles. Next, we have alternate interior angles. Okay, so when we talk about alternate interior, right, they're on different sides of the transversal. So if this is my transversal, they're on opposite sides of it, and they're both interior. So if I go to this angle here, it's an interior angle on this side of the transversal. What would be alternate to that and not touch it, right, would be angle 6. So angle 3 and angle 6 are a pair of alternate interior angles, and another pair then would be angle 4 and angle 5. Alternate exterior, similar yet different, right? Opposite sides of the transversal, both exterior. So angle 1 would be alternate exterior with angle 8. Then angle 2 and angle 7 would be alternate exterior. Same side interior, right? When we talk about same side interior, if I look here, they're non-adjacent, meaning they don't touch each other. Same side of transversal, both interior. So right here when I look, angle 3 and angle 5 would be same side interior. And then angle 4 and angle 6 would. And very similar is same side exterior, right? Except instead of being both interior, they're both exterior. So a pair would be angle 1 and angle 7, and then angle 2 and angle 8. These relationships are going to be very, very, very important for the next lesson, so please make sure you know them. So let's take a look. What type of angles are 1 and 2 here? Well, if I look at 1 and 2 here, right now I look, they're both interior. They're on opposite sides of this transversal, right? Both interior, opposite sides of the transversal. Those would be alternate interior angles. When I look at 3 and 4, again, opposite sides of the transversal. So if I look at this transversal, opposite side meaning one's on the left side, one's on the right side. Okay, and they're both exterior, so these would be alternate exterior angles. Next one, if this is my transversal, right? These two angles are both interior and on the same side of the transversal. They're both above the transversal, so these would be same side interior angles. Okay? So next, if I look at this diagram, there's one transversal here, and that's this one here. So if I look, anytime we draw arcs, right, one line will touch, or the arc will touch one line and the transversal. So when I look at angle 1 and angle 4, angle 1 and angle 4, notice how I draw that arc there. That tells me that I'm going to use the blue transversal with, I'm going to do these in 3 different colors. Oops, I don't want to do that one. Well, if I look, I'm going to use 1 and 4, right? Touch the yellow line and the pink line. So these are both on the same side of the transversal. One is exterior, one is interior, non-adjacent. Those would be corresponding angles. When I move on to 5 and 8, now 5 and 8, I'm going to use the purple line and this line. That arc touches the transversal. And the pink line, 8 touches the blue squiggly line and the transversal. So those are going to be opposite sides of the transversal. Both are interior. So those are alternate interior angles. 7 and 10. If you remember, these don't have relationships with the transversal, right? What type of angles are these? If you remember from geometry this year, you would know that those there are vertical angles. 4 and 9. When I look at 4 and 9, 4 is this angle here, 9 is this. So I'm going to use the purple line and the blue squiggly line, opposite sides of the transversal. If I cover up the yellow line, I notice this here would be an exterior angle. This is exterior, so these are alternate exterior angles. 1 and 9, if I look at those, I'm using the yellow line and the blue squiggly line, opposite sides of the transversal. This angle 9 is exterior, angle 1 is exterior, so again, alternate exterior angles. Okay, I'm going to erase some of this stuff so we can see the numbers a little better. If I look at 2 and 6, right? Here's 2, here's 6. Tells me I'm going to use the transversal, these two lines. 2 is interior, 6 is exterior, so those would be corresponding angles. 6 and 7. For 6 and 7, I'm going to use this line and this line. Both are, oops, hate when that happens. Both are interior, right? Opposite sides of the transversal. So those are alternate interior angles. And then 6 and 10. If I look at 6, 6 is interior, 10 is exterior, right? Same side of the transversal. So those would be corresponding angles. Okay? Okay, so in example 5, first thing we're going to do is identify the transversal. If I put an arc in angle 1 and I put an arc in angle 2, that tells me this arc touches that line, this arc touches that line, this here is the transversal. Now, the other lines we're going to use are this line and this line. Well, as you can see, 1 and 2 are on opposite sides of the transversal, and they're both interior, so these would be alternate interior angles. These angles here really don't touch a transversal, right? Those are just going to be what we've learned before, vertical angles. And what do we know about vertical angles? They will be congruent. Now, just a refresher too, 1 and 2, notice how these are adjacent angles, right? And anytime we have adjacent angles and they add up to 180, right? That is what we call a linear pair. And then when I look at 3 and I look at 4, notice, right? They both touch this line here. So that's our transversal. 3 touches this line, 4 touches this line. So if I go by definition, same side of the yellow line, which is a transversal, 3 is exterior, 4 is interior. So those would be corresponding angles. Go ahead, try the homework, and let me know if you have any questions.